Bell to Bell episode for January 4th, 2021. The previous week in professional wrestling has been a rather somber one, and this episode might not be too long, just because I don't really have a lot of ratings to review and stuff, because I didn't rate the shows at all because I consider this whole week to be a tribute week. So, top 5 matches of the week. I'll just start off, and this is again in no particular order, but Owens versus Uso on SmackDown, which apparently led to Owens actually getting injured, from what I've read. Hopefully it's not a lengthy injury, because I'd like to see where this story is going between him and Roman. But also, I put this in here. This is going to be a kind of a deviation from the usual, but I put to encapsulate all of the matches on Dynamite as the Brody tribute matches. Every one of those matches involves someone from the Dark Order, and almost all the Dark Order was featured on Dynamite this past week. So I consider that to be among the top 5 matches. I just put all of those matches together because they were kind of like almost the same match. You know, it's all about celebrating the life of Brody Lee, the former leader of the Dark Order. Of course, Brody Lee, real name is Jon Huber, formerly known as Luke Harper. Also, Johnny Gargano versus Leon Ruff for the North American title, where Gargano retained his championship and broke his curse, which it was a really good match. Also, Pete Dunne versus Roderick Strong was really awesome on NXT. Thoroughly enjoyed that. And on Raw, Keith Lee versus Sheamus to determine the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship at Legends Raw, which is tonight. So, 5, quote-unquote, 5 solid matches. You know, more matches if you try to separate all the tribute matches, but I considered all of them to be worthy of a 10. Dynamite was an excellent show, as well as it should have been. It should have been. It was a great performance and celebration. Best backstage, considering what we're going through, I think were all the Brody testimonials. Obviously, primarily on AEW Dynamite, but WWE's testimonials were featured on the network and distributed online via Twitter and stuff. So it was, once again, a somber thing, celebrating the life of Brody Lee. And I think out of all the tributes, I think my favorite, the one that stood out the most for me, actually may have been, I can't remember the name of the referee, I'm sorry, but the referee from AEW, he was inconsolable, but he had a very heartfelt, all the wrestlers who offered a tribute to him, in WWE, AEW, and wherever they are, they're all heartfelt and they all meant something. But that official, and I wish I could remember his name, the story he told, because apparently he was very close to Jon Huber, it was very heart-touching, because he talked about Huber being a father, and that being the primary thing, like him being a family man was his major priority, and that was great. It was heart-touching, and basically my favorite of all the testimonials, and all the testimonials collectively are the best backstage thing for the week. The best show of the week was Dynamite, the tribute show, hands down. Even if I was rating all these shows and all the matches, it was just a perfect show. I had no complaints about it at all, and I'm glad I didn't. I wasn't going to focus on that anyway if there were any complaints, but even without me exempting it from complaints, there would still have been nothing. Like, all the matches were great, everything served its purpose. I think it was just a great show. And I think also AEW did a really good job of doing a tribute show, but also having some continuity for their storylines as well. I thought it was very classy in how they tied everything up. It went full circle and all that. Best heel moment of the week was Randy Orton with Alexa Bliss on Raw, and it was Alexa daring him to set her on fire due to what he did to The Fiend. And they ended with this cliffhanger, whether or not Randy actually set her on fire. I don't think I've ever seen a cliffhanger in WWE before, at least like this. But it was like of this nature, I should say. But it was good. It was something that got me. I was on the edge of my seat throughout the whole segment. So really good stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever they do with Bray Wyatt next. And I think we're going to get to that before too long, probably at the Royal Rumble. The fire story of the week, I think, was Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. This whole story has just been excellent. SmackDown is just a all-around awesome show. It's basically my favorite show of the week right now. Like, week by week, I mean. My favorite show of this week, obviously, was the tribute show for AEW, but consistently, SmackDown has overtaken the rest, overall, with just their quality of matches. Excuse me. Matches, storyline, all that. It's all great. Solid. I keep yawning because I'm just, talking, and I'm trying to talk slower so I don't yawn as much, but it's not working. The new star of the week. So, neither of them are new stars, but I had two I was going to choose. So, number one, we had Sonya Deville returning. She didn't have a match or anything. She just was seen kind of walking and, arriving on the scene at SmackDown, which was awesome. We knew it was a matter of time before she came back, and I think that this is a great thing for the women's division to have Sonya Deville back. She's an excellent talent. But the other new star of the week, the emphasis on Jon Huber, Brody Lee, the celebration of him. He was just the star of the week, and it was not just limited to AEW or WWE. Jon Huber was celebrated across the board by other forms of entertainment. My own local news station, I think it was the local affiliate for CBS, right before the Buckeye game against Clemson on New Year's Day, they put on they had this Facebook post where they said, "It's Friday, you know what that means." It was just awesome that did that. And I think that realistically the new star of this week is appropriately designated as Brody Jr., which Brody is his real name, Jon Huber's son. So I think that it's awesome that AEW signed him up for a contract. I think that's great, and I hope they actually do something with him. But even if they don't, that's just something that's heartfelt and amazing for that family, that they actually have financial stability continuing as if Jon Huber was still alive. So that was awesome. And making Brody Jr., Jon Huber's son, the TNT champion for life on behalf of his father as -1 of the Dark Order, I think was really good. It was awesome. So great job for Tony Khan and everyone at AEW for stepping up and, giving such an amazing tribute to Jon Huber. Moving on, best promo of the week, I think, goes to Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley's promotional video. This video boosting up, getting us ready for the Last Woman Standing match this Wednesday at New Year's Evil. I think it's going to be an awesome match. I enjoyed their previous match, and this story got me even more hyped up. Just watching that video. So I enjoyed it. It was really well done, and it got you excited for an actual story between Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley. Touched base on a lot of things I wasn't aware of, because I've only been watching WWE again since 2017. I mean, I started watching wrestling again in 2016, but I was watching all the pay-per-views I missed out on, because when you watch the pay-per-views, you're basically seeing the conclusion of all these stories that happen on the weekly events. So when I watched all the pay-per-views, I got to see all this stuff, and I got caught up in mid-2017 and was able to actually watch things as they were happening. So since I started watching in 2017, it took me a couple years to actually start watching NXT. And it was my game plan to watch NXT before I even knew there was an AEW, or going to be an AEW. And then the summer of 2019, I started watching NXT, and actually at that time, you didn't even know that Dynamite was going to compete with NXT, because NXT was on at 8 p.m. on the WWE Network, and I was just making a point to watch it because I heard all these raving reviews about it, and by the time I got to watching it and then started to catch up, you found out that Dynamite was going to compete, and with all that considered, I started watching NXT and then eventually NXT UK by the end of that year. and I was starting to really enjoy it. But I learned about who Rhea Ripley was in the process, and Raquel Gonzalez came into my purview earlier last year when she arrived at I think it was the first takeover of the year. I think it was Brooklyn. Sorry, memory's kind of crazy right now because of the insane year that we just had. Anyways, all that being considered, Raquel Gonzalez, I was always interested in her, but I didn't know the backstory between her and Rhea Ripley, and that video personally helped me get hyped up for it. So, really well done. WWE just excels at their video packages. They're just amazing at it. Favorite commentary moment of the week. Considering the tribute week, I think it was appropriate that on Monday Night Raw, the very first thing that you heard as Raw was about to begin was, "It's Monday. You know what that means." I believe it was Tom Phillips who said that. And to know that WWE started out Raw that way, and then not Dexter, I was about to say, sorry. And then Drew McIntyre came out and he said the same thing in his opening comments. I thought it was awesome. Drew paying tribute. Wrestlers throughout the week have been paying tribute to Jon Huber, and it was amazing. But on my favorite commentary moment, like that was great. All that was great. But my favorite commentary moment was Jim Ross starting out AEW Dynamite with, "It's Wednesday. You know what that means," and I just thought it was awesome. That collectively made for the best commentary moment of the week, and nothing could excel that. Nothing could exceed that. So this week in wrestling history, January 4th, 22 years ago today, you had the infamous episodes of Raw and Nitro, where it was the episode of Raw that Mick Foley won the World Championship, and it was also the infamous episode of Nitro with the finger poke of doom, where Kevin Nash gave the finger poke to Hulk Hogan and caused Hulk Hogan to fall down. After all this build-up throughout 1998 of NWO Wolfpack versus NWO Hollywood, you had, or Black and White as they called it, you had this build-up, and then they intentionally just kind of rickrolled you, basically. They rickrolled everyone with that. So you might as well just put the rickroll video at the end of that episode of Nitro, because that's what happened to everyone. Everyone got conned into watching it. But the moment, obviously this is the infamous night where Eric Bischoff ordered Tony Schiavone to tell the fans about what happened on the pre-taped episode of Raw, where Mick Foley won the world title, and then hundreds of thousands of people switched over and changed channels and watched Raw instead of Nitro that night because of that moment, because they knew Mick Foley was going to win, and Nitro never recovered from that. That night was the beginning of WWE's winning streak against Nitro that lasted until Nitro collapsed, and until WCW collapsed. So that all started 22 years ago today, January 4th, 1999. Incredible wrestling history. Basically, it was the beginning of the end of the Monday Night Wars. And then finally, please listen to Extra Extra, my podcast, available on Spreaker. And visit my website, danaprophet.org. I have a bunch of stuff on there that, I've created a lot of things over time. But the tone of today is obviously altered by the fact that we're mourning as a wrestling community. I think even just should be mourning as human beings, the incredible person that Jon Huber reportedly was. So, with that in mind, rest in peace, Jon Huber. Thank you for watching.